So I guess we are ready to start. Janine Pretante, our assistant, is helping us with the Zoom and the video and bringing the public into the room. So our first item is going to be Intercity bus permit application for New York Trailways. Janine, are the people of the
So no, I never heard back from them. I never received any documentation either. I don't know if you want to just discuss it or do a denial for now.
Yeah, so I guess we were, the ask for a stop at West 39th Street between 8 and 9 is very unusual. Because we usually do not approve things between 8 and 9 or 8 and 10 even, so that there is no conflict with residents. And West 39th Street between 10 and 11 is going to be, no, I'm sorry, 9 and 10 is going to be closed by the Port Authority. So this location makes no sense, and the sidewalks are very narrow. And I don't know, when people are going to come back from the Port Authority, the interim Port Authority, they are going to use the sidewalk to come back to the east side. So this is a massive conflict. But beyond that, that brought to my attention the fact that, I also learned in between that some of the bus companies have gone to Port Authority and have voiced concern about the location of where they were going to be during the transition, which is on West 30th Street. And what that puts in my mind the concern that some of those companies are going to ask for stops around the current terminal. And I don't think we can allow that because, it's going to be chaos. I mean, there are 40 companies, we could have 40 terminals. They need to take whatever the Port Authority is setting up for them. So I think it would make sense to first do a denial on this one, especially because they don't show up. And second, do a larger letter saying we want a moratorium on, on the whole area around the Port Authority construction. So that we don't have companies like picking and choosing, where they want to be. So that's my proposal.
Sounds good.
Second.
I make that motion.
I second it.
Okay. All right. So all in favor? We're in favor? Oppose? Present non-eligible? It's fine. So we do two letters, one to deny this one and another one to talk about the bigger picture. So this is a real issue that is coming up and we need to be, next 10 years, where are they going to go? Okay. The second is adding an additional M11 bus stop on 9th Avenue between West 28th and West 34. Is that why you are here, Rich Esley? You need to unmute. You are muted right now. You have to click on the little thing on the bottom left, which is a mic. Okay. No. Oh, we can. Where you do that?
I got it, I think. Now
Okay. Okay, can you tell us a little bit about the background on that?
Yes. I moved into Hell's Kitchen in '94, and my best friend lives in the West Village where it originally ends. And so I've taken the number 11 many, many times. But what I discovered at some point was before all the construction on 9th Avenue between 34th and 30th or 28th Street, there was a bus stop at 32nd where it was great. I could get out there, walk across the lovely new plaza there, go right into Whole Foods, which is much larger and a better store, than the one on 6th Avenue, do my shopping, go right out and take the bus back up 10th Avenue to 42nd Street. This was great. As the construction began, both additional construction on the west side of the street at 32nd and on the opposite side, which was the opening of the Moynihan Station entrance, which happens to be right at 32nd Street. The bus, there was so much construction, the bus started passing all of these and going down. Sometimes the construction was as far as 30th Street, so they would stop at 28th. As the construction began to finish and clear, I thought, oh, good, it's going to be back to my bus stop. It'll be great. And there will also be a bus stop at the entrance to Moynihan Station on 9th Avenue. As it turned out, the next thing they did was put a red light there. So instead of a bus stop, if you wanted to take the bus, say, to Moynihan Station with a little bit of luggage, you've got to get off at right now at 30th, but even that stop is further down, further south than right on the corner of 30th. That's quite a bit of ways to go with luggage. And I tried to get contact both DOT and MTA about it and got in this circle that kept taking me round and round and round. There was no place to say what I'm saying to you right now. So it seems to me unusual that they put a red light there when there is a terrific entrance to Moynihan Station on the left and a lovely plaza on the right where people sit out. There are shops to the right and left of that plaza that take you all the way to Whole Foods.
So Richard, right now, the bus stops are where? South of 34?
For a while on the actual
now.
Right. But for a while on the actual MTA map, it said 28th Street. Now it says 30th. So it stops just south of 30th Street.
And the other one to the north is what?
34th.
34. There's a stop at 35th and 9th, then there's a stop at 34th and 9th, and then there's this gap that is being described, and then there's one at 30th and 28th. So they're bunched up inappropriately at 35 and 34 and at 30 and 28.
Well, the 35 is a move from 39. There was at 39. Oh, well, there was one at 38 first, and then the people complained about it. And there is one at 39 though. Do you have that?
Between 39 and 40.
There was one between 39 and 40.
Perhaps it's referred to as 40th on the list here.
It has to be, yeah.
Yeah,
You know, problem with those stops is that like for much of the day, they don't stop there because they have tunnel traffic. Traffic was up there.
well, that's why the other ones.
Like when they need their.
So it sounds reasonable to ask for a stop just before the traffic light, right? Which is on
Yes.
32nd Street, just before the traffic light.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, could we ask for the 30th Street stop to be moved north?
Well, you need
Yes.
both, huh?
Well, often the bus stops every two blocks.
Blocks.
Often,
Right.
sometimes, but
Well, at 30th Street, you have a supermarket. So I'm not saying that. But at a minimum, we should ask for the 32nd Street to be restored.
Or split the difference of 31 if that's not possible.
Yeah, I know, I was talking to Jahia about this earlier today. The new MTA bus redesign, they recommend that stops be between 750 feet and 1,500 feet, like, you know, to make the bus go faster, it's a trade-off, more stops.
Stopping.
Yeah, more stops, so
Stops.
more stops means slower bus, but it also means more convenient for local residents, but it does feel like there's one at 34 and 35 and at 28 and 30. One of those should move to the middle.
Yes. I wish we had a limited bus or something, like Fifth Avenue has. Some way too stops in there, 11.
But there's a grocery store between 28 and 29, right? Is that the one you're referring to? So the 28th Street stop gets that, and then the 30th street stop, if that moved up to 32.
No, the grocery store is at 29, isn't it?
Right, but the bus stops at 28.
Right,
Yeah,
so what are you suggesting again?
taking either the 30th Street stop or the 34th Street stop and moving it to.
So moving
32nd,
the 30th Street stop to,
31,
because-
31 or 32.
because I'm saying that, because the one at 35. I mean, there's nothing between 42nd and,
Right.
39, 35, there is already a big gap there.
Right.
And they're certainly not going to remove the 34th Street back, because that's the intersection,
Mhm.
right?
Well, yeah, although Jahia made the point to me that the 34th, the express 34th Street bus, I think, also stops at 35th. The one that I think turns on.
Yeah.
34A. 34A, yes.
All right, so I'm saying it again, you tell me whether I'm saying the right thing, moving, relocating the 30th stop at 32nd.
Yeah, the
Is that
30th,
what you all are saying?
30th stop is between 30th and 29th on ninth, right?
Right,
And I think we wanna move this one between 31 and 32, which doesn't exist, but.
between
that's
32 and 33,
32, 33.
right?
There's no 30 seconds.
No,
No, we're saying 32nd as a
yeah,
marker.
so it marks it.
That,
Right.
right at the crosswalk though?
Huh?
Right at the crosswalk?
Yeah, you can be, normally the bus stop are right before the crosswalks.
Yeah.
That's the general rule.
It is weird, there's no stop in front of Moynihan on
Yeah,
ninth.
that is
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
right. All right,
But
so
they
this
put
is.
but they did put a red light there, which is interesting. They took the stop
Well,
light for
it
red
is,
light.
the red light is useful for the,
Okay, straight across.
What did I
So
do?
32nd Street,
Should
should
we, do we hang up next to them?
so again, move the 29:30 to 32, 33.
or 32, 31, because there is a stop between 34 and 33 already.
Okay, 32, 31. Okay, so do we have a motion?
Exactly.
To 31 or 30 seconds? So 31
It's saying
seconds.
32nd, 31.
Doesn't 31st where you come out of the tunnel though?
No,
No,
30.
30.
it's fine.
Okay,
It is worth, right, do you wanna share, I mean, it's worth noting that the 34th Street stop is between 34 and 33,
I know.
so it's
It's
mighty
close.
close to Moynihan.
It is, yeah.
Moynihan stops at 33.
Yeah.
There- there-
Basically the point.
There is precedent because there was another stop on 35th through 35th, 36th, it looks like.
Yeah,
And that's only one block away as well.
Yeah, but we're now putting 3 stops within 3.
so Richard, what is the problem with using the stop at
34.
34?
Between 34 and 35.
Between 34 and 33, it's just a very small block away.
Well, if you, I mean, I selfishly, that's what I did for a while when they stopped the stop. I mean, but if you are going to, the stop at 32nd was very convenient for me for other reasons other than Moynihan. That Moynihan wasn't even going at that point, but it would seem to me logically, it benefits more people by having the stop at 32nd than 31st, because it's all about getting into a train station with and other buses and things with your luggage. You get on the bus at, say, up at 59th Street and you go right to the entrance of Moynihan. You don't have to go, you can't do that on the 8th Avenue. It's going the wrong way.
No, I understand, but you could use the 34,
Well, actually, looking at where the 28th Street stop is now, I mean, these stops should be spaced every 2 blocks, right? And there is a stop between 20 and 27 on night, there's also a stop between 29 and 30th on night. There's no stop between 30 and 31st on night, so logically, that stop should move between 30 and 31st.
so that's the
They're gonna be
21,
two
could
blocks.
you give
That's
me,
right now, they're every 1 block.
could you give me a motion? We want to move this to this,
Hold on, yeah, we got, it's up here.
right?
So Max,
No, the buses
Any other numbers,
Yeah.
and that,
So,
the bus is gonna have to deal with all these cars that are picking up and dropping more people. It's not like there's a bus lane there, designated bus lane, where they have to be out of that lane.
Right,
yeah,
So the buses are gonna have to be weaving in and out, because you go out anytime, there are Ubers and cabs waiting for people to come in, get dropped off. So that becomes a very congested spot right across from the plaza.
yeah, but I think Richard is making a good point, which is, when we have different mode of transportation, it would be good to have the best possible connection, right? This is not the best possible connection, is it? I mean, so do we have a motion?
Wait, I'm sorry, before we do that, can Charlie or,
Right
you
now,
have to use,
north or south of the station.
use the arrow to show.
Yes, so there's a stop there between 34th and 33rd.
Yeah.
Then you go 3 blocks, and then there's a stop between 30th and 29th, and then you go 1 block south of that, just to show like what's around here. In front of Chelsea Park, between 20th and 27th, is another stop. So by right, that stop between 30th and 29th should be moved between 30th and 31st.
All right, that's the motion.
Yeah.
What does it say? Say it
Move
again.
this stop to here.
Yes.
Right.
That's logically what it should be, because it's that every 2 blocks.
I have to say that the
No.
MTA is going to say
It's not a good location.
that the environment is really
Yeah.
horrible.
It's not a good
That's the
location.
Academy.
That's a parking.
Depot.
Yeah,
And then this
exactly.
is the tunnel.
I know this well.
So.
Yeah, but the parking, there's a parking there, well, they could put it in front of the
Theoretically can.
Amtrak, right there.
You could just fire them right there, you could there.
Yeah,
It is a weird place. I mean, no, because the point is though, if people are taking that
Yes.
bus, those buses, that's a good place to drop them
That's
off.
what's the difference.
so
Yeah.
let me spell out. What you just
Can I just ask a question?
Yes.
It's hard to follow you because you're all talking kind of at the same time, but I don't understand why you just can't petition for a stop at 32nd. Why are you talking about moving a bus stop to different places? Because you go from 34th, you go from 34th to 32nd, that's 34,
We-
33rd and 32, that's two blocks.
But the stop.
So Richard, hold on, Richard, the reason why we are not just petitioning is that we already know the answers from the MTA. And we are trying to anticipate the answers and provide a suggestion that has a chance of going through.
Okay,
And
I see.
therefore, that's why we are trying to find the best mix here. And then when they come back and say we can't do it, then we have arguments saying, why can't you do it? Okay, and so this is, so can you,
Yeah.
can you repeat?
I think the motion is to move the stop that's between 30th and 29th on 9th to between 30th and 31st, 1 block up. So this evenly spaced stops every 2 blocks on 9th Avenue between 7th Street and.
Got it.
7th, yeah.
Do we have a second? Second. All in favor? Okay, all right,
Good bus cross.
so,
Is it 31st, is that near the parking lot?
no, but at 31st, you have.
30th is the Academy parking lot.
You have an Amtrak, an Amtrak building, can be in front of the Amtrak building, listen to me. You're asking, are you asking a question, I'm trying to answer. So there is an Amtrak building that you can do in front of. Okay, all right, thank you so much, Richard, for bringing that up, hopefully we'll have an answer.
That's great. Thank you,
Thank
Richard.
you.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you for that hearing, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yeah, stuff.
okay, so the next item.
Sorry, Christine, was there a vote on that motion?
Yep. It
Yeah.
passed
Sorry,
unanimously.
missed it, okay.
So
Good
we're
night.
going to have
Thank you.
Good night.
presentation from Max. Yes. Intercity bus permit application, which are in vogue today, and we can't wait to have the presentation.
Are you gonna bring it up on that computer, or how are we gonna do this?
Janine, are you able to throw the presentation up?
Yeah, Max, if you just email it to me really quickly, I can pull it
I
up.
think,
Or
I
is
think
it
I
in
did,
Dropbox already? Oh, okay.
yeah, I think I emailed it, ready for the meeting. Maybe not.
So the way we're
Yeah.
doing that is we do the whole presentation and then the questions at the end, right?
Sure, yeah, then I have a map too, but the map
Otherwise,
it's an HTML map, so I don't know if we can bring it up or not, but we'll try, yes.
Okay, I got it. Let me see. You
Cool.
did. There's a PDF and then the map. Okay, one second.
Yeah, so we do the PDF first, and maybe we can bring up the map when I say, we can bring up the map.
Okay.
Well, yeah, it's gonna go to your web browser.
Okay, here we go.
We got,
Yeah, do you wanna make it full screen?
Yeah, sorry, it's just a little slow, but
No problem.
I'll do my best.
Alright, so I'll just get started. Alright, so this is Intercity buses in Community Board 4, and it's meant to be a guide, really, and I shouldn't be talking to you on hopefully, but it's just like a knowledge dump of stuff I've come across, and I've created a few, like, I hope helpful documents. Cause I honestly didn't know much about Intercity buses before joining this community board, and it's been great learning about it. And I want to take you through the journey I went through. Alright, the next page.
Like we're hopping on an intercity bus, if you will.
Right, I love it, take a seat.
Take a seat.
Alright, so buses are not all made the
Oh,
same.
pretty.
Woo! And I love this because it's like propaganda for buses, and I think it looks just fantastic. I wish we still had steam ships, I wish we still had buses looking like this. And New York in its all its glory, and New York has always been a hub for transportation, specifically obviously for buses, but you know. Other modes that you transfer to. So alright, next page. Alright, this is like I guess a nice document that I kind of wanted to make, it's a matrix. And it's a matrix about, actually, can we take away that?
Yeah, but
Yeah, excellent. Alright, so,
take away the attendees too.
oh yeah, please.
Yeah.
So again, this is meant to be viewed on your personal computer, just as like a side document.
It's behind that.
Yeah, behind this banner and then, yeah.
Alright, cool. It's a little cut off at the bottom. Alright, so there's a few different kinds of buses, they're not all made the same. Obviously, we all used to the M11, which is a transit bus. A commuter bus, which is that purple column, is like the New Jersey transit buses, and you can read the differences, I'm not gonna say it. A shuttle bus, obviously, is like NYU putting out shuttles to go to their hospitals from the Port Authority. Paratransit is also run by the MTA, that's on-demand service, you call them, and they'll drop you off where you go along with other riders. School bus, self-explanatory. Charter buses are like, you know, the buses that airplanes might hire for their staff members to get to the airport. Tour buses are those double deckers you see. And then finally, Intercity, which is like a commuter bus, but it goes farther distances and it's a lot more comfortable with like these 2x2 seating, so 4 across seating arrangements. And they're very long, usually long routes, fixed, and they have scheduled departures just like a commuter bus, but the big difference is that they go a longer distance, they're more comfortable, and there's much less stops. So you guys can peruse that in your own will, not gonna take much time. Next. Intercity bus, so yeah, provide scheduled long distance travel, get to New York City with the other people in this world. And again, this is distinct from a transit bus because it goes out of the city and it makes a lot less stops. So next thing. Brief history, so just like airlines, intercity buses were regulated, and I did not know that. So before 1982, there was a regulated industry of intercity buses, just like the airlines were regulated before the 70s. And basically the ICC, the State Commerce Commission, basically told them where they could go, where they could operate at set prices. Obviously, that did not lead to great competition, great levels of service, and so on and so forth. But the Port Authority bus terminal opened up during this time, during regulation, because they were so popular to take it to city bus. And they kind of used the model that airlines started to use a little bit later, where they consolidated different operations with different companies in one building. Before, it was in different buildings spread throughout the city. And that was a big step forward. And then obviously the demand was there, so the George Washington Bridge bus station also opened up, which is the city's second big terminal for buses, and it's not a terminal, but bus station. And then finally in 1982 it was deregulated, which just explosion of new buses. And that led to the rise of the Chinatown buses, the low fare buses. And these are the buses that you always saw at the curb because they did not want to pay the fees or they couldn't even get into these terminals. So all hell breaks loose in New York. And then all hell breaks loose in Hell's Kitchen. So it became really a curbside hub because of its location, all the transit hubs that we have here, and businesses and people that live here. The next slide. Some really cool map I found, the regulated Greyhound bus lines. I love stuff like this, there's a lot of bus propaganda out there. Next slide. Big one. We had these beautiful bus stations before, you know, the Port Authority, these stunningly Art Deco terminals, and they were just all separate lines.
Is
Some-
that Penn Station?
Yeah, the old Penn Station.
This is Seventh Avenue?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a great picture and it really shows, I mean, even back then they were thinking about intermodal connectivity, but private sector and also all private sector actually, Pennsylvania Railroad and Greyhound buses. And they just cared about their customers apparently. Next thing. Then we got this, which I've never seen it look so beautiful before. I was surprised that this is actually how it looked. It's not a picture, it's a drawing, but it apparently did look like this. And it's this beautiful Art Deco design, kind of going off what the Greyhound theme was with this great curvilinear facade. It's just a stunningly designed terminal, and then the next slide. We get this monstrosity. And this is what exists right now, hopefully not for too much longer. But this is the Port Authority of modern day, they're all used to.
You know when did this go
Actually, I don't have the exact date, I should have gone on there. That's $4 to be acquired. Alright, next slide.
That's a Google phone.
Yeah, it's a good thing. This just takes up such a large amount of real estate in this neighborhood, not only for the station itself, but the infrastructure that supports it. And honestly, without these ramps, the station would be all but useless because of the traffic that would go on the roads itself. So this is a direct connection obviously to the tunnel. And this is a key defining feature of what makes the Port Authority the busiest bus terminal in North America. Slide. Okay, so I don't want to leave this presentation now, but I do have a map that I made. It's HTML based. I can send it around. I guess we could pull it after the presentation. But basically, I mapped all the dots that are bus permitted stops from New York City. Intercity bus stops. Intercity permitted stops from New York City open data, and this is all available online. I basically made a little short geocode that ties these stations to this map. And you can zoom in, you can actually click on these dots and see what buses stop where. The geocode, I didn't spend so much time on, so some of it might be a little wrong, but it does take the closest parsed data it could. So I never saw a map like this, and I think it's really cool to have just to see where these stops actually are. And you can really see the concentrations on what streets, which I think is super helpful to us, and especially on our border on 8th Avenue, there's a lot. And on 42nd Street, there's a lot, and that makes sense because of the top site. Alright, so next thing. Alright, the regulatory framework, I found this fascinating. I had no idea how they were regulated before, but they are strictly regulated. So New York state law, New York City, DOT and community boards all have a role in this. So I won't go through every point, but New York state law basically allows municipalities like New York City to establish a system, a permit system to have these bus stops come into the city. Which is what we look at all the time, we would have looked at today if, you know, they were here. The New York City DOT permit system is run by the city DOT. The community board has a role in this, where basically we look at each application, but again, we don't really have veto power, it's more advisory. But you guys all know how that works, and yeah, you can read all the points, but basically to enforce this stuff, they rely not only on DOT, but really NYPD that enforces this. And there are mechanisms to enforce unregulated stops by these buses, or they're not doing what they're supposed to at their permit stop, which we'll go into later, but their permit only covers a certain number of stops per week, per month. And if they go above that, they're not in compliance with their permits, which is huge. All right, next. Okay, so just how we at the community board look at this stuff, and I think Christine would love to add to this list, but it's something I can think of. It's a lot to do with pedestrians, making sure the circulation is maintained on the sidewalk, which is huge for us. Also noise idling, but then what I've seen in previous letters is we much prefer majority non-residential blocks. Like we were talking about 39th Street before, there's a lot of hotels, a lot of residents on there, it's very busy, but we prefer wide sidewalks and we love off-peak operations. Next slide.
There's one more thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, this is the form.
Yeah,
This is one more important thing is that there is a system online from the federal transportation, which shows the safety of each operator. And they calculate, they collect how many crashes they have, which are driven by the driver or are driven by other things, and there is, so you can go and typically we would go and we ask them the question, saying, how much, how safe is your driving?
And then this is the form, which I also never saw before. I made it smaller, fit on the screen, but it's lengthy, it's about 6 pages. All the stuff we just talked about before, go to the next page. Yeah, this form is huge. I recommend you guys take a look at it. It's actually really interesting to take a look at each bullet point, and we see more informed when you talk about this stuff. Just in case you can't read it, we'll go to the next one. I just want to show that it was lengthy. It's pretty important about it. All right, fees. This is something I think we're all interested in, this is eye-opening, honestly. The city charges a fee based on the number of pickups or drop-offs that permittee will apply for. It is capped at $275, not per month, not per year, but every 3 years. Which is the permit length that they apply for. Each permit is issued up to 3 years and it's capped at $275. That is what I understood from the DOT's website. If I'm wrong about that, Colleen or someone, please let me know, but that's what I understood. It's capped at $275 per bus per permit. So an operator could have multiple buses, right? But the actual operator will pay more than $275 if they have more buses. But that bus itself is capped at $275 every 3 years. So that one stop is not $275 for 3 years. That one stop can generate a lot more than $275. But it's per bus, per permit, if that makes sense.
You mean if you have 4 buses,
Yeah.
that stop at that stop at that stop,
Exactly,
right? So that would be 4 times
yes,
their transaction fee.
yes, exactly. And it's capped at that, so it could be less, right? It definitely could be less, but it's capped at that per bus every 3 years. That, which is the permit.
That's set by the state?
It's set by the city.
Wait, is it per
I thought it was
stop
set by
or?
state or?
No,
The
it's per
state is
bus.
an overall operating
stop, per bus.
authority that gives the city the
Like your bus
ability
is up to
to.
250.
Oh, I don't know that.
Finish this and then,
Yeah. The state gives the ability to the municipality to actually have a permit system. So the city regulates how much it costs for the permit itself. We get that ability to do that from the state, which is the overall authority that gives the state that.
Which means the
responsibility.
cap, the money
Oh, the cap?
is driven by the city, not by.
Yes, I mean, yeah,
I thought your earlier slide said that it was the state that set the cap, but
We-
I must this person.
you can go back to that, but
No, it's okay,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And your question.
Sandra, what was your question?
Is it per stop per bus or just per bus?
it's per bus per permit.
And a permit is for a stop.
Yeah,
Right, the one stop.
Exactly, right, okay.
So if you have a bus stopping in 3 locations, they are going to pay 3 times.
Yes, exactly, yeah, which is cool. Sightseeing buses pay a little more per bus, but maybe not per stop. And the really sad thing is, the Port Authority, as far as I can find, does not release how much it really costs per gate to stop a bus there. They issue every once in a while RFPs and RFQs for buses to go there, and that's the only information I found online, which might be $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 per term, which is obviously a lot more per bus. But that is not the same ratio that they use here, which is a little hard to calculate, because that's per gate for the operator.
The gate is conceptually
Yeah.
the same as a stop.
Exactly,
Although it isn't,
no, not at all.
because you could have a gate and you have, well, anyway.
Yeah.
This,
It's,
by the way, today we learned, the capital, the Port Authority published their new capital plan and request, feedback. And one of the things they are going to do is increase the fees paid by the buses
great,
at their gates in order to help pay for the terminal.
yeah, it's great. Alright, so that's very confusing, but it's supposed to be like that,
Like,
yeah,
like you're saying,
no,
when you say per bus, like you can, if you have 10 buses that like rotate to a spot, you pay 10 times,
Yes,
10 physical
that's
buses.
as far as I
Yes.
understand from the city's rules.
But for the Port Authority, like,
You're paying.
the
you're
the
paying for the gate, so you could have 10 buses that rotate. to the gate.
and
Okay.
we have had discussion with the Port Authority early on, saying, you may want to have a more flexible system. Because some companies need to stop once a day, and they are not going to buy a gate.
Exactly,
Right, that doesn't make sense. You would have, like you have an airport, you have those big company which are doing gates, right? And then you have smaller company which are sharing gates.
Exactly.
Right, so we raised that, we will need to stay on that subject with them.
Yeah.
Because that's not the way they do business today, and they need to get more flexible.
It comes from an error, again, of the regulation, really. And that's how the terminal was designed.
Right.
That every company would have their own area of that terminal, which is just not how intercity buses operate today.
Yeah.
Could I, like, hypothetically, buy a gate and then rent it out to like
I don't know.
3 different operators?
That would be
Yeah,
a
you
gate
can go in the
network.
gate business.
Gate business.
Well, I feel like someone would be doing that if it was allowed, but anyways.
Depends on what they're.
I think you'd have to own all the buses, right?
No, but that's
They'd
the
all
thing,
have to
I
be-
think if I.
You don't own the business.
If I could own any
example,
bus, in this example, I just have a gate and I just.
Like our bus, like our, you know,
Right.
our company, our bus, they were the overall operator, but they didn't actually own the buses or pay the drivers.
6 buses the same way.
Yeah, exactly. Another smaller family-owned business might actually own that.
So you can do whatever you like with your
Yeah.
own gate.
But we don't seem like that might not be a thing for the gates for whatever reason, because if it was,
Yeah,
probably
we
somebody
don't
would be doing it.
We don't know yet, right.
Alright, so if we wanna move
And
on,
by sightseeing buses, just
Yeah.
clarifying, these are the, double decker which are going around, the city.
exactly. Which, that fee is very low, and that should not be the thing. They make a lot of money. That fee is
Yeah.
very, very low. Alright, the next page. That wasn't confusing enough. Is all about the new Port Authority bus terminal.
Hello?
Alright, so I guess this is a very like text heavy slide, but I think it's important so we see everything that's really happening on one slide. This is huge. I mean, not only are we adding capacity, but we're eliminating the curbside operations, which those two things are they're very tied together. And the amount of gates in the new terminal is actually less than the old terminal, but they're improving how they use those gates. So it's gonna have a lot more capacity with less gates. With a sawtooth design, so that sawtooth thing that actually pulls the bus in on diagonal, that pulls out, they have some of these right now, but they're gonna be everywhere at the terminal. Which is fascinating. And then the public realm improvements is something else we should highlight, and I have a bunch of renderings on the next slides. But this is something that should not be understated, just how much of an eyesore this terminal is on the neighborhood, and just how much of a blemish it is. It serves an incredibly important purpose, but it's not a piece of grand civic architecture like it should be. And finally, we're now finally getting that grand piece of civic architecture. Not only serving this incredibly important hub of the largest North American bus terminal, here, but it also will provide street level retail, which will activate all these dead streets around the state, right? It's gonna provide publicly open space, which is insane to have in this neighborhood again. And if you go to the next slide, we'll see some renders of this. And I think it's like really good to see this,
Before you leave here,
Alright.
one of the reasons for the capacity improvement without more gates is that they are going to have that bus garage. And which is like a massive buffer, and they're going to have all the buses there waiting to be loaded. So instead of today, they want to load the bus is stuck somewhere in the tunnel. Tomorrow, the bus is going to be waiting in the bus garage, ready to be, so they are going to be able to do a lot more service, lot more loading per gate because of what you described and the bus garage.
Yeah, not being stored on the street, which
Right.
is huge, right? Yeah.
So that's that, because today, what happens is that most of the buses at 10 o'clock in the morning, they go back to New Jersey. And when they need to come and pick up at 5 o'clock, they all come back through the tunnel. And that's completely unpredictable.
And it also goes, I guess, the bus lane.
Right,
Which we talked about.
and also, or some of them stay in New York City and they're on our street, right? So this is the dynamic that this new terminal is going to change. It's
Yeah.
totally going to change the way things work.
And in the next slide, you'll see how much real estate they're gonna dedicate to this bus storage.
Right.
And it's a significant amount of real estate. The next slide. So, okay, this is a really cool diagram that we should all be very used to. The new ramp structures on the left, then, the buses enter from there, then they go into the SSF, which is the storage and safety facility. I had no idea what they were talking about SSF until I read storage and station facility, but that's what they refer to it as. And then the new terminal, and everything connects off the street grid, which is so important. It's on another level entirely. So those buses will not be traversing these city streets. It's gonna go directly to the tunnel, directly to this humongous complex.
And you see the ramps on the left? If everybody if your gate is going to be on the 5th floor, you're going to go up to the 5th floor level and you're going to cross all the way to the 5th floor. So you are just straight.
Yeah.
You are not doing some merge and other things in other places.
But it also shows just how much we value in this city, public transportation. Like housing can be built on here, commercial offices can be built on here, but we as a city value this. And we dedicate basically 3 city blocks, a little bit more, to this purpose.
We're Port Authority blocks.
Yeah, Port
We're all on their
Still,
property.
city land, right? Not city land, but city land in a sense.
In a sense.
And then plus 2 more blocks for a publicly available open space. Instead of developing this for more buildings, the deck overs that they have to build for the temporary buses to actually stop during the construction of this and actually do their bus operations when this whole facility is being constructed. They're gonna construct these deck overs over Dyer Avenue, which is the Summit Expressway.
And they started.
Yeah.
It's real. It started. The construction has started.
And what we have not known yet is what these open space areas will look like, which will be a discussion further down the road.
Well, they have committed to have a community process. So with the Parks Department, with everybody, and everybody say, you know, this is what we like, the way we do parks usually, right? Which is a full community involvement.
Well, yeah,
in
whatever
the-
the Port Authority
the
wants to
design.
do, it's still Port Authority land, so whatever the Port Authority wants to do.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, they understand, they have said in the point of
Exactly.
agreement that it will be a community-led process.
exactly.
So it's really reassuring.
Yeah.
And that's that. The other thing that you don't see here is that every sidewalk along the building is going to be widened. It's going to have a tree every 25 feet.
Which you'll see in the next slide, actually, it's just, Judy is perfect. Cause you and I can first one. Alright, so, this is, you can see what the yellow arrow is. This arrow is pointing basically to 41st Street, which will be closed off. Not closed off today, that's where you have that awful interior corridor between the 2 buildings, the north and south building, that awful liminal space that's there. Where the Newark bus picks you up to go to Newark Airport, just so fitting,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, it will go away.
Actually, I know that.
And it's gonna be closed off, this is something they agreed to with the city, that 41st Street will be closed to cars and vehicles, and now be this grand atrium. To now enter this grand terminal,
And it's going to go down to the subway level.
exactly,
So that is really, that's going to be really impressive.
this is gonna be so cool, and all this light and air and all this activation is just gonna be so exciting, then the next slide.
So they're redoing the subway station?
Huh?
They're redoing the subway station?
Well, are we doing at least a portion of it, because that portion is going to go down, I don't know how much further they are going to do it, but that will be up to us to advocate to get the rest of it.
And then this is one of the ramp structures, I mean, the scale is massive, and you really don't see the scale until you have this eye level view.
So this is 14 stories, the equivalent of 14 stories.
But they're doing the right thing, and they're opening up the first floor, this could be like the bus depot we have on 11th. And I'll have any ground level retail and just be a concrete slab on a city block that goes up 4 or 5 stories. But the Port Authority's doing the right thing here by opening the first and second level up to ground level retail and activate it. Which is key to the success of this. And they're obviously shielding it in too for emissions and all this other stuff. So the next slide. Shows how this is not interacting with the street level, it's its own ecosystem. Which is a cool way to think of it, it's literally an ecosystem of buses. Next slide. This is the potential open space, which has not been designed yet, and then the public retail, which you can just see it's a wall of that.
Well,
space.
that's the SSF.
Yeah, it's exactly, which is the yellow arrow should be pointing to the blue, yes, exactly, but it's the public open space to the SSF.
And so in front of 39th Street, we asked them to do a widened sidewalk, a super sidewalk, so they're going to do a super sidewalk on that block, and then again, with trees every 25 feet.
So Christine's ask is on the next slide too. There. Yeah, so this great open sidewalk with, this is just game changing, it's like public Hudson Yards. That's
Yeah, the Hudson Yards that should have been.
No, that's a yard for people.
Yes. No, but this is so exciting, and there's so much to do with buses and everything, I don't want to take too much time, that's the whole presentation, keep the presentation if you want. I'll send you guys the map if you want to take a look at it, but it's a really cool topic, which I didn't know much about before this.
Is
So
there,
are the intercity buses going to start moving again?
Yes, oh, that's all part of this, they added capacity, so they're gonna go into this, yeah.
Oh, well, it's, Sarah have to, that's really adding a lot of urgency to revamping the payment structure, right?
Oh, I mean, so, well, the infrastructure should be completely different, because it's not gonna be curbside stops anymore, hopefully, or not.
Is it gonna be 100% in Port Authority or?
Well,
well, you never know, because
But
there's
there's
gonna be a
right.
bunch, and then one guy is going to come and say, you know, I don't want to pay what's in the Port Authority.
That's sweet.
So there are two things, right, so there are three things we want to keep an eye on. One is, what are the concerns when we have a new one coming in? And you said the concerns very well, you know, pedestrians. If it's in front of a business, the business could say, I'm losing my shirt. If it's in front of residents, people are going to enter the residents' doors. And so it's best to separate them and to put them in front of, you know, blind buildings, which we have tried to do by putting everybody on between 11 and 12, right? So that's one thing. The second thing that is going to happen is, again, when all of those buses are supposed to go in and the price of the gate is going to be expensive, they are going to want to stay on the sidewalk.
yeah, and nothing's forcing them to do
Right.
that.
And so what is going to force them to do that is what was in another,
Yeah.
you may want to send that link to the other presentation, how other cities are controlling that. And generally what they do is they do corralling. And by corralling is they are defining a space where the buses can be and another space where the buses cannot be. And therefore, when people apply for a permit,
Yeah.
they can't get it. So that's why I want to start sending those letters about, hey, we need a corral here. Because we don't want people in this zone to continue business as usual to park here.
Yeah.
They need to go somewhere else or in the terminal. Yeah,
Yeah, what I'm noticing is a lot of unmarked buses, well, coming into the city. There's been unbranded, and that's a problem.
okay, so if you take if you see, take a picture of their registration and then we'll look into it. Okay, so these are the two things we need to really keep an eye on is, you know, how we position the one, and the further out, the better. And then the creating that corral that, you know, prevent buses to be next to the terminal. Yeah.
Why are like inner city buses so much more problematic than all the other types of buses?
Well, the other buses are pre-scheduled per person that hires them, right? So intercity buses, they are allowed to stop there on a regular basis during the 3-year period. And that leads to a lot of congestion with those buses. With the other buses, they don't have predetermined stops unless that person that hires them does hire them for that one specific location. So like a lot of the charter buses that have been hired, which a lot of the unmarked buses are charter buses, right? It's private groups going to the city for like sightseeing stuff, or like airports hired, any number of things. A lot of those unmarked buses are the charter buses, and they might stop at the Hilton or a Holiday on one day, but they're not regularly. The issue is when you have those regular stop that concentrates on one particular point, which is not permanent bus stop.
What about like the commuter? I thought the volume of commuter buses was probably far greater than the volume of inner city buses.
Huge.
But those all go to.
But the
Port Authority.
commuters are mostly going to Port Authority, except some intercity buses are providing commuter service.
Yeah, like the short.
And so it becomes kind of, you know,
Gray area.
that high volume,
And they
which
operate
is,
so differently. If you go on a New Jersey commuter bus, that drop off is one drop off at the Port Authority right now. You take a bus to New Jersey, it's not gonna drop you off at a gate, it's gonna drop you at the drop off zone in that terminal. And then that bus is gonna go to its gate to pick up the next round of passengers, go back to New Jersey. So it's a completely different operating structure within the Port Authority, how intercity buses operate versus how the commuter buses operate. And honestly, the intercity bus should operate how the commuter buses operate. You know, one centralized drop off zone in the terminal, and then go to the gate that they're assigned to.
Do you know why they do that? That seems like that would be a better customer experience.
It's the design of the terminal. Sawtooth and everything else.
So that's why, I mean, you know, the intercity are a little.
It's just funny because they're like 10% of the buses, I don't know the number, but it seems like a small portion of the total bus. But there's so much more problematic.
But
than
right
other
now, they can
buses.
save money and drop off their passengers
But in-
a block away, and
But
their
in,
passengers don't know the
in
difference.
theory, anybody can do
Right.
that. In theory, like the New Jersey commuter bus.
Sure, but the New Jersey commuters know the difference.
Right.
The, I
Well,
think
they
the
don't
inner,
want
but
that.
the inner city
Right.
passengers don't,
I
like the
know the
commuters.
difference, I took those intercity buses and I'm aware I'm being dropped off on.
The commuters have somewhere to be at a specific time, like the inner city passengers aren't as time
Well, you
sensitive.
do have the value conscious commuters that go on the bus that stop outside the New York Times building, right? The ones going to Patterson, the dollar bus, and those kinds of things. Those can be considered commuter buses, which I think they are.
They are.
It's just that their value is a lot less, but the people that pay New Jersey Transit itself wants a building with bathrooms, wants to be shaded from the elements.
The other thing which is an issue that is not clearly, I mean, it's the jitneys. You know, all these little buses that are going to New Jersey and coming back, they are intercity buses. They are classified as intercity buses, but they are not, I mean, you know, they are, the question is when the terminal is going to go live, it's going to be way too expensive for them. So what's going to happen? And the concern I have is that they're going to stay in the street, which
Yeah.
is not good.
Which is not, but you know, at the George Washington Bridge, those jitneys, they can pay like $1, you speak, I used to think it, that actually stops at the GW Bridge terminal. And I don't know how they got us, they stop at the GW Bridge terminal, go across the GW Bridge, drop off their people, and come right back to the GW Bridge terminal at a gate.
Huh.
We don't have it.
Well, there is one gate, there is one,
Yeah.
it's the Spanish, whatever it's
Yeah.
called. They have one little jitney inside
Yeah.
and two outside.
What makes a bus a jitney as opposed to another bus?
The jitney is more like, they don't have a schedule, they leave when they are working, they are full.
But it's not
They
government.
they pay $1 or $2, I mean, it's ridiculous.
But they have a fixed route.
Yeah.
Yes.
They fix stops, it's
Yes.
just not government.
And they are in very high competition with each other. And nobody wants to fight them too much because.
Yeah, why aren't they? Wait, they're like the wild west of buses, why is nobody?
Well, because they are, everybody says they are servicing a population which really cannot afford any more than that.
It's the same as in Queens or in Brooklyn, in
Yeah.
areas that
Yeah.
don't have transportation, you run up and down a certain, neighborhood.
There's a great.
So everybody says, well, this is a population
Oh,
that needs
okay.
that service.
I'm confusing, okay, now I know what
Right.
jitneys you're talking about, whereas
Right.
I'm thinking about the like.
Yeah,
Hampton
yeah,
jitney,
yeah.
No,
the
no,
Hampton
no.
jitney, and I'm like,
Oh, we
really,
have
like,
population.
really, yeah, and I was like, really,
No.
they can't.
Well, that's not really a jitney, because that does have a schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No, no,
I-
we're
that's-
talking about
I now know what you're talking about.
The
and I
north
understand.
side
I
of
understand.
42nd Street,
Right,
like, you know, you have 25 of them and
Yeah.
everybody's, right.
Yeah, I.
So that's going to be an issue and we collectively as before are going to have to stay vigilant of what's the solution? Let's find them a gate where they all go at the terminal, right? So that they don't stay in the street.
Or, I mean, but if there's more capacity for these, I mean, can't the bus routes that currently exist be expanded now that there'll be more, you know?
That's not the problem of that. The problem is the money. Those jitneys are like $1.
Oh, I see, like literally, it is that much cheaper than
Yeah.
riding even
Yeah.
NJ Transit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Your trip's expensive now. I think the bus regularly go to Costco, it's easier to go to Costco or
Right.
Leeds.
No, so that's going to be something we need to stay on.
Or we need to, you know, lobby New Jersey Transit and whoever else is running buses to have some sort of reduced fare program like that.
But some people are going to say, I don't know, but this is,
Yeah, no,
this
no,
is
I
a
know, but-
culture. I mean, you know, they want to
Sure.
get on, get off.
But this is a problem that
This is
like,
like a taxi, you know.
sure, but it's, yeah.
I just-
Yeah, if we can get them inside, it's less of a problem, I get
That's
that,
right.
but.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
right,
But if
probably
we can't-
providing better service for low income.
No, but I mean,
customers that
ideally, you
New
would
Jersey
want,
Transit ever will.
you would want one gate to be reserved to them and they can share between all the jitneys.
Yeah. But yeah, sure, but they're also not like, these are not regulated, you know, they're, who knows what
But
they're,
that, the jitneys are the only ones.
their safety, like,
that
there's no
are,
like safety regulations, there's no, like, they're just doing, you know.
Or you have like a bus exclusion zone about the terminal, because
Well, that's what I'm talking about, you know,
of course.
the corral is going to be a very important concept.
State is every
Can we look back at that bus, like, stop map? It seemed like it didn't have all the stops.
Yeah, I was really confused by that.
Yeah.
I thought we would have so much more,
No, no,
like
because we
that.
have, because we have few stops with a zillion of people. like
Like the Flixbus.
the Flixbus.
But I didn't see like any on like 11, which is
Yeah,
pretty cool most.
yeah.
Janine, can you go back to the,
David, David, what, your turn.
Just very quickly, first of all, Max, this was a great presentation. Thank you so much. It really was excellent, superb. Will the express buses from the outer boroughs be part of this? Like, do you have a lot of buses coming in from the outskirts of the Bronx, Staten Island, Southern
No.
Brooklyn?
They also have a 42nd.
No,
Yeah.
they are not intercity.
Well, that's true. They're intra, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's true. But I mean, but I also support Christine about getting the jitneys indoors because they do provide a huge service
Yeah.
for specific populations.
Max, you can go to the map or not? If you can go to the map by yourself, you'll see they are there. I mean, you know, what we have tried to do is aggregate a lot of them in a few stops. So we have one stop which is on 11th Avenue across the Javits. We have one stop which is 34th Street across the Javits. Those two have like 3, 4, 5, 6 companies there. Okay, and we have tried to push everybody this way.
Instead of going the raw data too, it also just very well be mapped on, but when you go to the map, like share it screen later, but you can click on each stop and like
Right.
the data.
And see what's there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is amazing.
yeah, really.
And the bar is very nice. Fabulous. Okay, all right, so the next item is bike lanes
Yeah.
discussion. And we probably need Colleen for this discussion. We've put in the. Hey.
Hi.
We have put in a Dropbox a letter we got from DOT, we got it 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
That they are going to do conventional bike lanes on 18 and 22. Is that accurate, Colleen?
Yeah, that's correct. So what it is that we sent a letter out to the affected community boards. What we're planning on doing is to install, as the letter mentioned, conventional bike lanes on West 18th between 11th Avenue and 6th Avenue and West 22nd Street between 10th Avenue and 6th Avenue, following our resurfacing project of spring 2026. So there was an error in the letter because I have to confirm where it terminates. In the letter, it states Lafayette Street, but that's not you. That's actually in CB3. So as what most of you know, with the conventional bike lane, what we're looking to do is, designate a portion of the roadway for cyclists. We're looking to create the bike lane wider, separated from motor vehicle traffic and improve the markings. That's what pretty much we're looking to do. So we see it as an opportunity because we're going to be paving that area next year. So we want to improve the bike lane corridor. That's pretty much what it is.
I have a question. When you say conventional, that means it's not protected, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and why is it starting at 10 and 11 and not at 12?
Well, you know what? That's a good question. I mean, I can take this back to my colleagues at the bike unit. Why not start at 12th Avenue?
22nd.
22nd goes, 22nd.
22nd ends at 11.
Okay, got it.
I think that's fine.
But 18,
Maybe that's why.
but 18 is going all the way.
So I understand, what are
Yeah,
you doing?
so these bike lanes, the locations that we selected, as you know, they run in the same direction as the main flow of traffic. So, again, it's an opportunity to improve the bike lanes. So this is what we'll be doing when we're out there milling and paving those 2 streets.
Alan,
Colleen, right now, 22nd Street doesn't have a bike lane except for from 10 to 11. So from 10 to going east, there isn't a bike lane, a painted bike lane going.
Does it switch direction?
So
hold on.
it goes east, west to east, 22nd Street.
Oh, that's why.
So are you saying, are you removing a parking lane?
No, we're not removing anything. We're not removing anything. No.
So this is going to be a
We're
shared
just
street
improving.
like-
We're just improving the current bike lane that's there. We're not removing anything.
Well, you can't improve a bike lane that isn't there. So you're making a new bike lane. I can understand that. So this is just going to be 2 painted lines next to the parking lane. I mean, people use that anyway because there's a bike rack
It
on
actually,
22nd and 10th, and people, are shooting down 22nd Street anyway, so to have a place for them to park and cars who are going, or trucks going east, know that this is a designated bike lane would probably help the whole situation to begin with. Yeah.
and also actually, it would actually be really helpful between 10th and 11th on West 22nd Street to have one stretch where the bike lane actually goes in both directions if possible, because people come off of the flow of traffic goes from west to east on just, or from east to west on just that one block. But the flow of traffic coming off of the West Side Highway of the bikers off of the Route 9A, whatever, you always forget the name of the bike path on over there. They go over onto 23rd Street and come down. There is no bike lane on 23rd Street, so most people just bike from west to east on 22nd Street, going in the reverse direction of traffic anyway, and in a place where there is no bike lane. So, ideally, actually, it would be, and there's nothing there right now, it's such a wide street, like, there's no one, it's a very, like, underutilized street, there's there's very little traffic.
It's a very used by street.
The traffic wise,
Absolutely.
I don't
I
think
tell
so,
you,
I think it's
22nd
22nd Street.
22nd Street has about as many cars and trucks making a left turn to go to
Is that West Side Highway?
as 23rd Street.
No, because I feel like.
Okay,
it's-
all right, so,
Trust
okay,
me, I'm,
but that's, having a double bike lane
Yeah.
is not a bad idea, but.
it is a
I mean,
wider street.
It's a wider street. It's a wider
I
street.
agree.
Yeah.
Tell me what
Okay.
you
It's a busy
think.
street.
I mean, I think it's nice that DOT is planning to, add bike lanes along with resurfacing projects. What drives me crazy is we resurface roads and we don't make any changes. But I also, I'm not very excited about a line of paint on 18th and 22nd Street isn't gonna make anybody safer.
Yeah.
It really does almost. I live on 54th Street, we have a line of paint, it's pretty worthless. I go to 52nd Street where there's a protected bike lane, and I think our crosstown network is woefully inadequate. We have crosstown lanes at 55th, 52nd, and then 38 and 39, and then 29 and 26, but I don't think we have any crosstown lanes south of 26 in our entire.
No, and
Just-
we sent a letter about that, so that may be in response to the letter, but I agree with you that if it's not protected, why?
Especially if we haven't gotten rid of any parking, yeah.
So that's,
Yeah,
that's
if
really,
there's a way to have a protected, or, you have the lanes on 12th and 13th Street, which are wonderfully wide, and they got rid of parking on one side of the street, which I was.
but maybe that's too big a jump.
Yeah,
But
that's
at
gonna be
least-
too big a deal.
at least-
For
at
those,
least I
for
would
that, for
start-
22nd Street, they're gonna stay long.
Right,
Believe me,
right.
this committee will never meet again, and we do that.
No, I agree with Charlie, that the protected bike lane is what needs to be done. The painted line is next to useless. I think we really need to, parking space for people's lives, and that's the.
Although we'll take it, we will.
Got it,
Yeah,
okay.
Colby, can I ask you a question on what happened on 10th Avenue, which was repaved very nicely, and it looks like they're waiting to paint the bike lane green. Unfortunately, it rained. Now, Councilmember Boccia has a bill out to replace the big cement blocks with planters. The planters right now were removed for the repaving. I'm assuming you're gonna replace them just to separate, so cars make that left turn onto 22nd. And also the other blocks. Is it possible to get planters there? Can we, instead of putting the cement blocks back? How do we do that? Instead of having these cement
All right,
blocks,
so
we get
this
some
is a
planters?
different subject, right?
Yeah.
Just hijack this.
Right.
We'll get to it, but I think you should talk to Eric Botcher about that.
Okay.
That
I
would be the
sent
best
I
way.
sent him a letter. in.
Okay, all right, okay.
All right, we'll.
All right.
We'll take
So-
that up.
and you can, I'm gonna follow up with Colleen, like, we'll make sure that she
Right.
gets.
So I guess what I'm hearing is that it's nice, but.
This is West 18th Street, just to illustrate,
Yeah.
It's I mean,
18th Street.
Plenty of
West Street.
space.
That's why.
It's a
Yeah.
wide
That's
street.
why.
This is a wide street and, you know, yes, I guess a painted lane here is better than absolutely nothing,
No,
although.
but it's
And some people would argue it's not, because it gives cyclists a false sense of
totally.
safety when someone could open the door right next to them.
No, I got it, I got it. So I think our response to that, Colleen, is going to be that we would really, oh, Julia is on.
Yeah, we got
here.
members of the
Hold
public.
on, members of the public, Julia,
Any members of the public would like to speak?
Colleen, no. Janine,
Allison is on for new business, but I brought Jahia over.
Okay, Julia, we are ready for you. Here he is. Oh,
Yeah.
we saw the chair, but not the guy. That was great. So
Hello,
tell
can you hear
us.
me now?
Yes.
I just wanted to comment. I think the comments were already had, but really supportive of doing new bike infrastructure with the repaving. I think that will go a long way. So happy to see that happening. And then second, like I think at 38 feet, 18th Street has more than enough space to put in a protected bike lane to start. So I'm disappointed to hear that that wasn't what DOT thought to do there. But I think there's easily space there. And I think I agree with what other people said on 20th Street, like make it a protected bike lane, even if one of the two parking lanes has to be converted. I think that is the sort of trade-off we have to make for safety.
Yes, which I don't think we want to ask for removing parking lane and let the DOT try to figure out how to do.
Let's ask for protected lanes and
Yes.
they tell us how they.
Yeah.
Wanna do it?
Exactly.
Propose how they do it.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the motion. And what about this two-way that was on
Well, I would like them to
22nd?
explore the two-way on that one stretch that
22nd
Where-
between 1 and 1?
between 10th and 11th, where the traffic is all of a sudden going in a different direction.
Got it.
Uh,
Okay, so,
So like
Two-way
to have
there.
a two-way bike lane
Uh,
is wide, because the street is wide.
right, happy that they are considering new bike lanes, but we really want protected bike lanes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Could they
also look at 20th while they're doing the two-way, or is that out of the scope of their task? 20th between 10th and 11th is also an exit from the West Side Highway that could cross Chelsea Piers, but it goes the wrong way.
I would rather just expand on what they have proposed. You know, they have chosen those streets, so they have probably done an analysis of what they want to do.
Or it's where the repaving's at.
It's just where the repaving's happening.
Oh, the
so
where the
yeah,
repaving.
it's where the repaving's happening,
Probably
so
the widest.
So do I have
But-
a motion somewhere?
Motion.
Yeah.
I second it.
All in favor?
alright.
Actually, have a-
David, okay.
Aye.
Alright. Now, related to that, we had a discussion with, Jesse and I had a discussion with CB5 and CB6. And we were talking about different things we could do that are, you know, across our, and indeed, one of them was the new standard for bike lanes. And so one of the things I would like to do is we want to draft a resolution saying this is what we want for the draft, you guys can add into it. And we can vote on it and
Like next time, or?
no, this time.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay,
right.
I got that.
We're talking about bike lanes. and,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
was- So the other letter is going to be about, you know, doing a new set, changing the standard and really adding a lot of crosstown bike lanes. That's
Protect
pretty
them.
much protected by.
Protect them, like in the same vein, protect, which would then now cover.
Then
20th Street.
covers 20th Street,
Yeah.
right?
But to have cut across all three of our districts.
Right, and have each of the district vote on that and do a joint resolution, so we can start and then everybody does it, and then we have one letter going across. Where all the elections say, we want that, and that takes care of this.
Mhm.
So, okay,
Yeah,
Right.
what are we talking about?
right,
Everyone okay with that?
But sorry, what?
Ron has his hand up.
I think Ron's for another business, but
What's the new
start
standard?
so that
I guess
again.
I'm confused. What is the new standard or what is?
Well, no, the new standard is what we're talking about, that they are protected, they have the vertical separation when needed, right? And that maybe they have daylighting at the end, and I mean, that's pretty much, and they have, if possible, the greenway. Right?
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
across town.
Can I ask a separate question? Sort of related, but if you take the bike on 52nd Street, especially when you get towards 6th Avenue, they have like a million food trucks, but they open up into the bike lane, which is an idiotic place to do it. Do you know who gives the permits for
There's no
food
permit.
trucks?
There's no permit.
They
Well,
don't-
just,
okay.
this is the place where if the sign says loading commercial, boom. That's it.
Yeah, it's all in CD5, I think, but,
Yeah.
You're
it's
not
hor-
saying-
it's horrible, it makes the 52nd Street bike lane, which is already. Well,
Challenging.
and I think in this letter, because the 52nd Street and the 55th Street bike lanes are not good. There are only protected bike lanes in Hell's Kitchen across town, but they're not good, they're constantly parked and there's delivery vehicles all over them.
They're very
There's
near.
trucks
That's
where
why
if you
we're
wanna-
going to ask for separation.
Yeah, but what Colleen has mentioned today is worse than that.
Oh,
But
yeah,
what I'm saying, the next step up,
Yeah.
what we're fighting for is also bad.
right.
And what they have on 12th and 13th is quite nice for the most part. But, you know, I think fighting for truly protected bike lanes that will not be chronically parked in or have food truck customers standing in
Right.
is what we're looking at.
Is there some difference in like the built environment that makes them less likely to be parked in or to be stood in?
Well, physical protection would be nice. I mean, 12th and 13th streets, they did take away.
But
parking.
all residents too.
They're
Where
mostly
on the other
residential.
places,
Yeah.
there are like deliveries,
It's commercial parking.
commercial parking.
Yeah, we do bike lanes, how North American cities do bike lanes. Most other developed countries do not do bike lanes, so we do bike lanes, they don't have bike lanes for the same grade as cars.
Right.
So they're not grade separated, so naturally they have conflicts when people use that same grade.
Right. So I think sending that letter, this is the beginning of a new administration. I understand vaguely that the bike group is working on new standards. I think sending that letter could be very timely. And doing it across the street.
So basically, would the letter be asking for to just improve? To meet a certain standard and threshold of what a bike lane should look like, going across town, that's kind of what it is, okay, so, sure.
Okay, well, I'll send it around and
Yeah, everyone, people can
you
actually.
can add to it or
Yeah.
give some examples, you know, saying this is a problem we have,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The guys from CB6 already drafted it,
Oh,
so I'm
they
going
did
to
that.
use that
I want to do that, okay,
and send it around,
okay,
okay?
do we vote on
All right, yes, do we have a
the motion?
motion? Yes,
Great, any second?
all in favor?
Christine, Ron Wisniewski had his hand up. I don't know.
Yeah,
if-
we're.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, was
We-
Ron
we-
ready for it? Did you wanna talk on that, or did you wanna do your own business? Cause we know you wanted your own new business too.
Yeah, we want to do new business, right?
I thought this is, yeah, but that was.
No,
Oh.
that was bike lanes.
Oh, sorry.
Okay,
Oh,
sorry, I
new
wasn't sure if he was
businesses.
on for new business or
Right.
not.
So let's have the people who are the public bring up new business.
Okay, so I'll bring over Ron and Allison.
Yep.
Okay.
Hello, can you see me and hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Alison Cooper. Thank you for letting me talk tonight and bring my concerns to this meeting. I'm really happy to have found you because I feel like I've been trying to get answers for a situation that strangely ties into what all of you have been talking about. I live on the corner of 21st Street and 10th Avenue. So I did send Janine a photo. Janine, I don't know if you could bring that up, but that will kind of illustrate what it is you've all been talking about and what I'm seeing on my particular intersection. If you look at this photo here, you will see it's taken, like you see 21st, then 10th Avenue is coming up from the south, and then you've got the other aspect of 21st, which is the bit that comes from the West Side Highway through the 10th Avenue. So like 22nd Street, this is one of the very few blocks in the city that has traffic converging into it from 3 different directions. We on 21st Street have had, I think, the water pipes replaced, which has taken 6 or 7 years. So we have not had a marked crossing on that stretch of 21st Street for 6 or 7 years. So I would really love it if you could help me speak or get information to the relevant city authorities that would get that marking down on the 21st Street. On top of that, there's no signage to alert drivers coming from the east that then becomes a one-way street. So occasionally, a few times a week, you'll see cars drive into 21st Street. They'll get, 100 feet down, realise they're going the wrong way, and then they'll reverse back out onto 10th Street. On top of that, we've had the bike lane put in, and I'd also like to endorse and speak to the point that other people have come up with. There's absolutely no protection for anyone with the way things currently are. There's no proper concrete barriers for pedestrians. So if you're a pedestrian, you're going to struggle out across the bike lane, and then you're going to be on that piece of black road where you've got absolutely no protection whatsoever. You've got cars coming, turning left that don't know what's going on either. 9 out of 10 vehicles will drive where they're not supposed to because you've got painted marks, but you've got no concrete barriers. And then you'll see that's the same on the other side. And it was interesting to hear all of the talk about buses, because here we have one of these buses that drops people off at the Chelsea market that comes and parks there. So if you're a pedestrian trying to cross over, you've got to get in front of that bus and then peek around. It is one of the most crazily dangerous intersections. And I think it's getting worse because we've got a big construction project on the corner of the West Side Highway and 21st Street. We can have 50 concrete trucks coming down and making this turn. Plus, we have a building construction company at 506 West 21st that brings in 30, 40, 50 delivery van drivers every day. They're dropping stuff off, they're picking it up. They've got 3 forklifts that work across the street. They drive up on the pavements. On top of this, and this is where I got very interested in it because I have 2 children that go to school on 25th and 10th. So at that location, you've got a school of 1,200 students, and a lot of them live in that West Chelsea corridor. So they are all walking up 10th Avenue, 5th, 6th graders, all on their phone. They come to this intersection, there's no markings, there's no real traffic signals, there's delivery drivers that have got no vested interest in the livability of the community. And this goes on from 5:30 in the morning till 12. So I really apologise to 311, but every morning I'll call it in and say, can we please get some parking regulation? The police will come. By then, often, sorry, I'm going on. But anyway, that's basically my concern. Any assistance you could give me or any guidance you could give me on trying to make this corner intersection safer, I would be very grateful for.
So just let me recap. So we want a zebra crossing on the west side of 21st Street?
Yes, because we've not had that for 7 years.
And then on the refuge, we want physical separation. And then
There has
we
to
want
be.
signs, for indicating to the drivers that it's a one-way street on the other side, right?
Yes, yeah, because a lot of these drivers will.
We got it.
I would just like to add that there's already been one fatality, not on this corner, but on 20th and 20th Street and 10th Avenue, not long after the bike lane was put in. But it was a motorbike rider without a helmet. The bike lane had just gone in. There was no markings. People didn't even really know what it was because there was no warning or no communication. And someone was killed on that corner.
Okay, so we can definitely send a letter.
Yeah.
What?
I just got a few points.
Yeah.
Okay, so just if I can share here, One thing that I think is part of the problem is that DOT just resurfaced 10th Avenue and they have not finished putting all the markings back. So this is from November of last year. There was a crosswalk there. Presumably DOT will be putting that crosswalk. We should ask DOT to expedite that.
That's what
Yeah.
Put the crosswalk back. Also, this pedestrian island was painted truffle and it did have 4 flex posts around it. In her photo more recently, it's not, it's black, so it's more difficult for a driver to understand that that's pedestrian space. And there's no flex post. I would love to ask for it to be concrete. I would like them to be concrete all along 10th Avenue to protect pedestrians better. So maybe it's an opportunity to ask that. In terms of the market, there is like a do not enter sign. At least there was in Google Maps
One on the other side.
on both sides.
And we
But
don't, it's not there anymore?
I'm not sure. I'm just looking at Google
Are there
Maps.
signs on tents saying no turns?
But I think maybe we could ask for more signage or louder signage than.
Yeah, are those,
I'll check it tonight when I.
or no, wait, but those are facing the wrong, I mean.
This is facing the west side highway.
But no, I think she's saying there's no do not, like, there's not enough,
There's not a do not turn.
there's not a do not enter early enough for people who are driving in this direction to be able to see.
It's on the other side.
So we'll need to put
All traffic must turn left.
exactly, on the other side of the do not enter signs that you were just showing, you need to have exactly all traffic must turn
And
right.
the turn.
I mean, yeah, it is there. It
Let's
says
see
all
what's there.
traffic. It does say all
They do
traffic.
have an arrow, they do have a
Yeah,
right turn.
But
There
there's
is-
one over here
look,
too.
There is one there.
And
There is one
It
there
could
on
be
each side.
bigger.
They need to be bigger.
It's also.
If it's happening multiple times a week, they need to be bigger, there's not working.
Yeah.
Can I
Why-
also, can I also add, I think a great benefit of actual concrete barricades would be a lot of the delivery drivers going to Camco actually pull up on 10th Avenue and then reverse into 21st Street because there's nothing stopping them. It's very easy for them to pull up where the bike lane is and then they just reverse back down.
Okay, so I think we have a resolution here.
Yeah.
The resolution is about the zebra crossing, finishing it.
Expedite return to.
Expedite the island and possibly make it in concrete and
And
then.
put the barriers back
And
up.
if not concrete, it could be other hard
Right,
materials.
hardening, and then a bigger sign for all cars must go left,
Mhm.
right? Bigger sign, okay, do we have a motion?
Question.
Okay,
So,
all in favor? Very good,
hey, thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Thank you for listening to me. Thank you very
Of
much.
course. And you should know, obviously, we've had Colleen on this whole time, and one of the nice things about these meetings is she's also takes notes and has heard your concerns directly as well, so. Okay.
Ron.
Thank you.
Your turn, bye, Allison.
Buddy, how are you? Good to see you. So Christine, our never-ending effort to get Lyft to come and speak to us and take us out on a date. So for the past 2 years, you mean they've been stringing you along, saying another 3 months, another 3 months, another 3 months. Now they finally say, we don't want to meet with you at all. Is that what happened?
Yeah, this happened 2-3 weeks ago as I was preparing for the meeting. And I called the people I know there, which are at pretty high level. And they said, oh, we would prefer if it was going through a DOT. And so Colleen, we're going to need your help to get the city bike unit to come and make a presentation at the next meeting.
Yeah, I've actually reached out to them and I tell you, I had no luck myself.
Oh my goodness.
So we need to escalate that and ask Danielle and other people to get involved. It should be easy for us to sit down and have some suggestion, it's not to beat on them. It's really to review some suggestion. So
Can we get an article in street blogs, maybe?
Wait.
Street blogs to write about
We're
this?
just trying to have Pauline get it.
What's the problem?
No, the problem is that Ron with the e-bike coalition had asked in one of our recommendations last year was that Lyft change their signal, communication on the bike and do a better education and change the signs they have on the bike, or maybe if you have not pushed the button saying, I mean, we're just brainstorming about that. So the idea is to meet with them and say, look, we think that would make a big difference. And that's it. And we have not been able to meet with them. So Colleen, if you could help us in any way, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, I'll try. I reached out to Lyft and I tell you, they were reluctant to come. But I'll give it a shot again.
But what about the unit of DOT that is really the city bike responsible?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, we can't tell Lyft what to do, They are a separate entity by themselves.
Yeah,
We
but I
can't.
mean, I think it would be good to have the DOT unit, because at the end of the day, you are signing the contract with them. So you have a certain level of leverage with them, especially when we have suggestion, I mean.
Yeah, I'll definitely take it back.
Well,
Okay.
they have not made any effort. We've been trying to meet with them for 2 years, really. And Carrie Michaels, who couldn't be here tonight, she writes once a week, calls. She never gets a return call, and we're not trying to, we're not attacking them or anything. We're trying to make constructive suggestions that might improve safety with signs and things that would educate people, especially tourists who are renting these bikes and don't know the rules. And so I don't understand how a public-private partnership can be the private part can dictate to the public what to do. I mean, it seems to me, like you said, Christine, there must be some leverage that the city has over these folks to make them accountable in some way. But let's leave that aside then, because I feel like we've wasted 2 years on them. And I think that you're right. And if Colleen can get some type of person of responsibility with DOT who can listen to us. I mean, we're talking about things, Colleen, you've heard all this before, like, on some of these one-way streets, there are 2 blocks in particular that always spring to mind: West 43rd Street, West 49th Street, 43rd between 9th and 10th, 49th between 8th and 9th, where the city bike rental stations are at the west side of the block. And the bike rider who rents the bike then rides the wrong way to the block to the east, of the entire block. And this is very dangerous. Now, we haven't been able to solve that with enforcement would solve it a little bit, but it's still tiny compared to the problems. But we suggested last time, Jesse and I were talking that, what about just try it. Put up a one-way sign in the middle of the rental station with an arrow pointing that this is one way. Just if you save one person from being knocked down, it would be good. And we went through a lot of that same block, Worldwide Plaza, where we went through the commission and all that and got those 2 signs put up on that crossway there through the Pops area. And that has made a difference. That has made a difference. People dismount, they walk the bike. So signs can make a difference. And I don't know why it's so resisted. I mean, we're not asking, but you're a jerk riding this bike. We're saying, please, don't ride on the side.
So Juan, in the meantime, could you write down the ideas and suggestions you have? And next month.
I'll send it to you.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I just please. Those specific ones we just discussed. And then even if we hope that the people of City Bike inside DOT will come to our next meeting and we'll give them that recommendation. Okay?
Yes.
So
thank you. Talking about bike lanes earlier, one of the suggestions, perhaps you can incorporate in your bike lane idea, is if you look at the markings on bike lanes, for example, in Tribeca, right around the police precinct and 6th Avenue and Erickson around there, they're very well marked. There are large arrows. There are the cartoon or whatever of the bike rider. You know that it is one way in that direction. And, you cannot miss it because it's clear. Up here on 9th Avenue and 10th Avenue, well, they all need to be repainted and repurposed. But when they do repaint it, use that as an example to make it clear this is one way. And I think that would go a long way toward, instead of me yelling at them, you're going the wrong way. It doesn't seem to be working.
All right, we put it in the resolution.
That-
Okay, thank you so much, Ron.
I have
So
one
now,
another subject, but
okay, so now we have,
okay. It's about the charging stations which have resurfaced, if you know about that. Maybe Colleen.
okay.
I read that they have decided, Colleen, are they extending the pilot program for the battery charging cabinets and then trying to put them on sidewalks, I read yesterday, in what, 25 places across Manhattan? Is that true?
So there is a proposal to expand at citywide, but the locations haven't been identified yet. Correct.
And does this have to do with the private companies like Mr. Hirschfeld at the Pop Wheels, etc.?
No.
This is you.
Yes, this is us.
And so it would be, you would be doing it free, or you would be charging them a subscription. Do you know those details?
I don't have those details.
Okay. And well, we were pretty clear and we agreed on this, all of us, that we don't want them on sidewalks. And we said this before. So what's going to happen is it's going to be a lot of work, but every location that they choose, where it's chosen, please keep in mind the letter that was already written by the committee, specifying those places, right, Christine and Jesse? We all worked on that.
Yeah, I mean, the question, Colleen, is that, are you going to consult with the community board when you have those locations or not? Did you hear me, Colleen?
Oh, I'm sorry, Christine. What was the question?
The question is, when you're ready to cite those charging stations, are you going to consult with the community board or at least show it to us?
We are definitely going to let you know. Yes.
But I mean, let us know like that's the way it is, or let us know like we are thinking about it.
Well, you know what? I'm going to mention it to the group that's working on this, and I'm going to let them know that, of course, the community board is very much interested. And we will I'll let them know that, if we can come to the board and share the locations, obviously, so you can have input. Yeah.
And again, tell them that we really do not want them on the sidewalk, but on the roadway.
And
I'll let them know.
Specifically, Colleen, the letter that Christine and Jesse and the committee wrote on this subject is very specific about the rules of the sidewalks, how much space needs to be. And I think you need to dig that up, and that needs to be a template for the recommendations that you come up with for where these go, because they are dangerous.
Okay, we may dig that up and resend it again.
Thank you all.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ron. Really appreciate it.
So 2 quick updates. Penn Station, I went to one of the first SWAT meeting yesterday, which was driven by Andy Byford. That was the first time that we saw Andy Byford there. And I mean, we didn't learn a lot. What they have already published is out there. And it's not different. What we learned, which is of a little concern to me, is that, first of all, they have not included the public realm in the RFP. So the RFP says you can do it, but it's not compulsory. And the second thing is that they are going to narrow down the people who are bidding to a selected proposal with no public input. Which means that, there are going to be 6 people who are semi-qualified, and then they have another round and they go down to 3 people, and then they have another round and it goes down to 1 person, and then they enter in contract, and then they come to us. And so I felt a little bit uncomfortable about that. The reason I do feel uncomfortable is like we don't have the opportunity to plug the things we like. And second, it's such an iconic building. I don't know that people are going to be happy to have like, here it is, rather than, oh, we can do A or B or C, right?
So are they just selecting the design builder with no public input, or are they actually selecting the design with no public input? Because if they're selecting just the design builder, then they're just selecting the firm who's good at design, then there's public input. But the way the city does it a lot of times is, well, for these bigger projects, they just select the design builder or the designer at this RFP process, which is not public. And that's what the city does all the time right now.
Not.
So if they're just doing it like that, that's, I guess, fine. 'cause how
That's
the city
business
does it.
as usual.
Yeah, but if there's actually selecting the design, no public input, that's an issue.
I'm
But if
not
it's
sure
selecting
about
the
that.
firm that's designing it, that is not that much of an issue.
I will ask the question.
Okay, yeah.
So that's the two main thing that may be a little uncomfortable, but beside that, they are working very, very fast. Definitely, the objective is to to start construction in 27.
Whoa, wow. And did you-
Was, how closely they work with Madison Square Garden and Dolman?
With what?
With Madison Square Garden and Dolman, like, are they involved in this process? Madison Square Garden?
Definitely.
They are, alright, awesome, so that's obviously the most crucial aspect of this entire
Right,
plan, it's
right.
Madison Square Garden, right? Not just like the top side, but the actual support structures that are limiting where these platforms can go, where these.
Well, I think they
actual-
can fix that.
Well,
They
they
also
can,
move it.
They can fix
not
it.
only move it though, they can take off the concrete though.
No, they can fix, they can remove a certain
Yeah.
number of
Yeah.
columns.
Yes, exactly, so as long as.
So, but they are definitely working with that, but that's the point I made, I say, if you don't include the public realm.
Yeah.
Well, every month or every 15 days, you have Madison Square Garden having an event and creating like, a broadcast center on 8th Avenue. And, you have to address that.
Yeah.
And that is not inside the station, it's outside the station, so I think we're going to have to push our elected to call them and say, this is important, right? And so we have a co-letter with CB5 and CB4 talking about that, so we are pushing for this. You were having a question?
No, I just want, no, the only thing was just, was there anything else you heard that was, like exciting or interesting or?
No, I mean, they are very systematic, they have this process for the building, and then they have another process that the federal rail administration is driving to figure how to optimize the tracks and the platforms, and that's going at the same time. And then when that project of 2 years is going to end, then they are going to start to do design build with the people above. And so those two things are clearly going in the right direction, and
So
it's,
that's what they're re-looking at, they're running, not like.
oh, yeah.
So different consultant than we met with
Yes.
2 years ago, and they're gonna redo
Yes.
this, but
Yes, completely.
Regarding the 8th
2 years
Avenue
ago, it was,
portion,
it's impossible. and,
Right. So now the FR, that's a very open, optimistic and, exploratory
Great.
group.
Great.
And-
regarding
and-
the 8th Avenue part of the equation, specifically, I think maybe we should also include the incoming Mayor Madani and one of the deputy mayors in that, because you're dealing with 8th Avenue. The other part of Madison Square Garden gets very complicated because Amtrak, MTA, but just keeping 8th Avenue separate and what they're doing, that I think we might be able to get more action, not only from our local electeds, but from the incoming mayor, because they have more power.
Yeah, well,
over
I
that.
expect our elected to know how to navigate the mayor and all these people, so
Don't-
that's
don't-
their
I mean-
job. That's their job, to go and talk to all the level of the administration to get what we want.
Okay, because right now what's happening is, is that our state senator is going to resign because he's going to be the borough president. So that
Right.
office is the state senate office is going to be vacant for a period
Yeah, but we'll have the
of
board
time.
president, right?
Right, I
Okay.
understand, but I'm just saying that's why we should, yes.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm
Okay,
saying
well,
we should,
these are good suggestions. So generally speaking, very positive, right? Rushing like crazy.
Right.
2 points of concerns. the public realm and the potential non-opening, but this is a very good point. I will find out whether they will have a selected design by that time, because and figure it out.
If we could just ask for the timelines for the whole design phase, like how they go through concept designs, when do they come to us, when do they go to the stakeholders versus the committee that.
They
like,
showed
all-
that
yeah,
after the selection.
Yeah, that's good then, as long as it's chance to design, I understand, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll stand around with stuff. Okay, US1 study. So Max, you went.
Oh, God, yeah, you can. Yeah, I went to that meeting at the MTA, a few days ago, and it was a really cool visioning session. So between 59th Street and Battery, they have money to study a redesign of, West Street, whatever you wanna call the street, West Side Highway, West Street, 12th Avenue, whatever you wanna call it, between 59th and the Battery. And the study's limits are basically the sidewalk on the east side and the bike lane, landscape area on the west side. And everything in between those 2 points is up for grabs right now. So last year they started this, and again, this is just a study, so there's actually no construction behind it, it's just study the corridor, what does the community want, and then advocate for funding after the study's complete. So right now they're in the concept design phase, where they went to the community over the past year and heard what's wrong with this roadway. And now they're combining all those issues into a concept design. So we're part of the, not a stakeholder, it's more of the transportation,
Right.
the supporting committee, whatever it's called. And then there's a separate stakeholder committee. So they came to us and we worked, played with these Legos at this meeting. And each like Lego represents like 2 or 4 feet, which is really cool. It's what I used to do in like school. I went to school for the architecture, it's literally what we used to do. So we did profiles of different sections of this roadway between 59th and the Battery. And what do we value as this committee, and how does this profile look, and what do you prioritize? So like sidewalks, driveways, busways, bike lanes, landscape areas, right? And nothing is off the table right now. Obviously, during normal projects, you have to get constrained by all this stuff. Nothing is constrained, it's just what do we want, what do we value, then the designer is gonna take a look at what we value and translate that to what is constrained, right? So they can't take away trees, even though we might not value the median trees, because say we want a separate running bus corridor in the center of West Street. That's what we're talking about a lot, and one of the winning designs or winning concepts we had with a separate running bus corridor or transit corridor that can convert into a tram later on, BQX like, right? Because there's no north-south mass transit. And then prioritizing pedestrians, intersections, how they look, and then how big you want this bikeway, and then how you manage micromobility with the bikeway. Like new e-bikes, cargo bikes and stuff like that. So it's really fascinating, and then the next step is to go to the wider community and have a very similar workshop, which you guys should all attend, everyone in the community should attend this, because they want to get as much data as possible. Because again, nothing's off the table right now, which is so cool. And then from that, what the community values, what this community values will be translated to an actual design, which will be a part of the study. And after that design is done, that is when they advocate for the funding.
No, yeah.
And that is when they find out there's no money to do it.
No, but what's interesting is that you know that, and we are going to hear about that next month. EDC is advocating for the blue highways, right, which is to take merchandise coming across the river and then putting them on cargo bikes and going in. But once they're on the cargo bike, there is no place to go. So you may view that potentially this new path may be used by the cargo bike. And so my suspicion is that there is a connection, but nobody has said that.
And the biggest thing, everyone's talking to each other, they're talking to Gateway, they're talking to the cruise terminal we designed. So they're all talking to each other, all these major projects that happen on the west side are talking to each other, which is super important. And everyone in that room was like DOT from the state, from the city, there were people from the Parks Department, there were people from like Chelsea Piers, all the major users along this were in that room, which is super cool, they're involved in everything. So it's not designed in a vacuum.
So that's very exciting, a lot of things are going on. That's it.
That's very exciting.
That's it.
Yeah, I have one thing for next month, we sent it out, I think that the DOT announced that they're installing like 9,000 benches and leading bars in the city, very exciting, we've been pushing for a lot of that. But yeah, the disability accessibility folks are pretty upset about the leading bars. because that doesn't really actually help them, and so. I think Miriam will probably make a short presentation on this next month, we don't do this tonight, but, just something coming our way to think about, so that's it.
Okay, so exciting. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thanksgiving.
And calling the meeting to, right?
Motion to adjourn. Thank you all
Happy
so much.
Thanksgiving,
Great meeting.
everyone.
Got through so
Happy
much.
Great
Thanksgiving.
meeting.
I have a meeting early, so, but it should be pretty soon. They usually schedule it with a month.
And then you provide an answer.
I'm so